we are up to Parashat Vayeshev. So I said to Abe a bit earlier that a good friend of mine, Rabbi David Hekmadja, gave me a gift this week, a sefer called LeDavid Mizmor. So one of the students of Rabbi David Feinstein was a very big posek, a big Rosh Hashiva in our generation, son of another greater son of Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, the greatest rabbi of our American Jewry generation, also was Rosh Hashiva in New York. So one of the students wrote a book, right? And my friend dedicated this book, one of the Parshas, for his father Neshama, and he sent me a gift. He said, I want you to use it. I said, okay. I read it, I loved it. I said, wow, beautiful insights. I actually sent him a message that, Rabbi David, thank you for the gift. I love it. I'm reading it, I'm really enjoying it. And he was very happy that I liked the gift. So, Benina, I will quote a couple of points from Rabbi David Feinstein as well. So this is Parsha, Vayeshev Yaakov. It says that Yaakov wanted to dwell in the place of his father's dwelling in land of Canaan, which is Eretz Israel, land of Israel. So it talks about Yaakov's descendants, which mainly Yosef. He was 17 years old, and he was a shepherd also with his brothers, with the sheep. He gave a lot of attention to the sons of Bilhah and Zilpah because they were not the main wives of Yaakov. So Yaakov had two wives, first Leah and Rachel, and eventually four, because the maids also became wives in order to have more boys. They wanted to have 12 children. So these four boys, two from Bilhah and two from Zilpah, they were like, second citizens, because they were not from the main wife, the main mothers. So the other boys bothered them. So Yosef, attended to them a lot, took care of them. Even he reported the wrongdoings of the other brothers to the father, to Yaakov. So that's how Torah begins, that Yaakov loved Yosef more than other boys, right? Because he was a child of the elderly. He was very old when he got Yosef. And he made a special garment for Yosef. And because the brothers saw the father loves him more than us, they hated him. And they didn't talk to him even peacefully. So just on the spot, Gemara says, you learn from here, you should not differentiate between your kids. Right?
It's impossible.
So you shouldn't show it.
Okay, that's possible.
That's possible. Okay. So
that is definitely possible.
You should not show it. Or you should, not or, a person, every parent should show their children, each one, you are very unique. That's very, very important. You can't say you're better than everybody else, but you are the best for what you are. Who you are the best. That's very, very important. And honestly, every child is very, very unique. There's no two fingers the same, and there's no two children the same, right? So everybody in the world is very, very unique. I think that thought could keep a person going for a lifetime. I'm very unique, and Hashem loves me because of my uniqueness. I don't have to be like somebody else. I don't have to accomplish something else. I have to accomplish for what I am and what my mission and goal should be in this life. So I want to first share something of David Feinstein. He says that Yaakov, it says Vayeshev. Yaakov lived, right? So there are a few different expressions in the Torah that could say that he lived somewhere. You could say Vayeshev, he lived. Also, you could say Megure Aviv. When it comes to Yitzchak, it doesn't say Vayeshev Yitzchak. It says Vayagor. Megure also means to live there, to dwell somewhere. But also, it means very temporarily, right? So
Vayeshev is permanent?
Yeshiva is more permanent. when you're somewhere, very temporarily, we call them Vayagor or Megure.
When what?
When you live somewhere, when let's say you come to LA,
Yeah, so
are you permanent here? So because you travel back and forth, you are Megure, you're Vayagor.
right.
You're not a real citizen. You're like a ger.
Yeah.
I'm here,
Yeah, totally.
right? I'm here because I have to be here, but it's not my permanent place.
Like and
Very good, excellent. So it says when Abraham went to Canaan, he said, "Ger v'toshav anochi imachem." I'm a ger with you. Okay, convert. I'm like, I'm not a permanent guy here. Yitzchak says that I'm also by Migure Aviv, but Yaakov felt Vayeshev. I'm permanent. I'm good. I'm fine. So what's the problem? So Rashi says Vayeshev Yaakov, very famous Rashi. Rashi says that Bikesh Yaakov leshev b'shalva. Yaakov wanted to settle in peace. So I had a long life. I had a difficult life. Too many bad things happened to me. I'm good now. I'm back to Israel. I'm done with my brother Esau. I'm done with my uncle Lavan. I got my wives. I got my kids. Now I want to relax. Yosef comes up. The worst of nightmares, Nevach falls on him. So Hashem told him, you only get Olam Haba. You don't get this world to enjoy. So Tzaddikim מבקשים לשב בשלווה. Righteous people, they want to live in peace. Hashem says, no. You have Olam Haba. That's a big gift, right? This Olam Hazeh, you can't enjoy too much. So Hashem doesn't let Tzaddikim enjoy this life. So Rabbi David says that first of all, Yaakov, the fact that he said Vayeshev, he wanted to dwell in Israel permanently, comfortably, because he loved Eretz Israel. He said, compared to Lavan, where I was a ger over there, right? He said, in Lavan, Garti. With Lavan was not permanent. I was a ger, Garti. I was a convert. I was like, alien, illegal, immigrant. I was here for a couple of days, couple of years. I know I'm not going to be there forever. I came back. But here, Israel, I love Israel. Doesn't matter where I live, north, south, east. I'm 100% good. The one big problem, says Rabbi David, when a person lives somewhere permanently, you start to adopt from that country, from that people around you, right? And that was children of Yaakov. They started to become like citizen of that place. We are here for good, so whatever they do, we're gonna start doing the same. So Hashem said, I can't have you here forever, meaning even though this is your land, but Hashem didn't want Yaakov to be very comfortable, because otherwise they would get the idea that they can follow the footsteps of other people around them. So it's time to go to Egypt. So Yosef goes to Egypt, that Yaakov should go to Egypt, because then they know they are not permanent, so they're not going to learn from the people of the city.
This is Yosef, right?
I'm saying Yaakov wanted to live permanently in Israel, but it wasn't the right time, because there were a lot of goyim over there, and his children will learn from goyim, they become like goyim. So Hashem had to move them around too much. So he says, I want to get to the piece that he says, He said there are a few reasons that there's always galut. One is that a person should not feel comfortable with that country, right? Hashem doesn't want us to become a real citizen in somewhere, so it keeps you moving from one galut to another galut. Sometimes a galut is too much torture, so Hashem says, "Oh, that's enough. Go to next galut." Another galut is too much money. Hashem says, "Okay, you have to move from this country. You have to go to another galut." So that's why, because Hashem, one of the reasons Hashem didn't want Yaakov to be too comfortable in Israel, he made Yosef come up and start the move, eventually going to Egypt. So again, he says that the fact that the brothers started fighting, Yosef was sold to Egypt, all was because Yaakov wanted to be peaceful in Israel. Hashem didn't like that idea. He didn't want his children to feel like, oh, we are like, regular residents of this country. So in the beginning, we see a fight between Yosef and his brothers. So Rashi brings down that he told his brothers that they eat in a way in a non-kosher food. Why? When you shecht an animal, first of all, they wouldn't eat a non-kosher meat. They would not eat treif.
Non-kosher meat?
No.
No bracha.
No bracha. Non-kosher food, you cannot make bracha. But now, the question is, when you shecht the animal, how much do you have to wait before you're allowed to start eating from the animal?
The blood has to go.
Do you have to wait for him to be completely dead? Or you could, as soon as you shecht, you're allowed to eat?
Completely dead.
It depends for whom. For Jews, they don't have to wait too long. Once he's completely, so there are different types of blood. Once the first flow of blood is out, you're allowed to cut up the body, and obviously you have to salt it. Other types of blood to come out. For non-Jews, they have to wait much longer. They have to wait for the animal to be completely dead. Right? That was the fight between Yosef and his brothers. The brothers said, "You're only a Jew. You don't have to wait too long. As soon as you cut, 5 seconds later you could start eating. You could take out body parts and salt it and eat it." Yosef said, "No, you have to wait longer." Another question was, who you're allowed to marry? Half sister, you're allowed to marry. You're not allowed to marry half sister. Are you allowed to marry girls from the country? You're not allowed to marry. That was the fight between Yosef and his brothers. Yosef was always more strict. The brothers said, "No, what are you saying? We could do it already." Half sister allowed, not allowed. It's before Matan Torah. They called the brothers, the half brothers, servants, avadim. You're not allowed to. Halachic, are you allowed to? Are they considered to be a servant? Not considered. It's always fights, halachic fights between Yosef and brothers, right? So he would report everything to his father. These are the things that my brothers are doing wrong. Lashon hara. Interesting part is Yaakov never disciplined the boys. Well, Yaakov never said they are wrong. Don't do it.
Yeah.
If they are wrong, Yaakov should have said it once and that's it. So he says, we see, having a machloket, a debate, is not something new in our religion. There's always machloket, it's always fights. But fight should be always only in the Bet HaMidrash when you learn. When you have a halachic fight, you cannot go out of the doors of Bet HaMidrash. You're arguing what the Torah means, the argument should be only here, and that's it, not outside. It says, Bet Hillel and Bet Shammai, they were fierce fighters. They couldn't stand each other. This is wrong, you are wrong, this is good, this is bad. Always fighting. They left the door, they kissed they hugged each other, kissed each other. They married each other. Our fight is not, a personal fight. It's a Torah fight. Torah fights place is only in the yeshiva. In the yeshiva we fight. After yeshiva, we are best friends. Right? That's why Gemara says, כל המחלוקת שהיא לשם שמיים, any מחלוקת is for the sake of God, it's eternal, always stays. That's fine. But Bet Hillel Shammai could have fights always. That's fine, because they're all fighting in the book, in the Torah. Within the walls of Bet HaMidrash. They leave the walls, they're friends. Yosef and brothers had a fight, they should have dealt with it in the Bet HaMidrash, not outside. It should not become a personal, right? It should not lead to killing each other, to selling each other, throwing your brother in the pit. That's not a fight. That's not a Torah fight. Torah fight stays within the four walls. You go out, no one should know that you're fighting. Bet Shammai's daughters married Bet Hillel. Bet Hillel's daughters married Bet Shammai. Why? Because there wasn't nothing wrong between us.
Intermarriage.
They didn't even call it intermarriage. They call it Jews marrying Jews. Right, I know. But it was not a personal fight. So why this happened? So he says that all goes back to Yaakov's perspective. Yaakov wanted to dwell permanently in Israel. Meaning, we're good. When you think you're part of this country, your kids learn from people on the street. That's how people lived in over there now. Everything's personal, right? When you fight over politics, you also fight over personality. My politics differ than you doesn't mean we have to hate each other, right? But so why is so much hatred? Why there's a civil war? Because that's a street fight. Ideas become fight between people. That's wrong. I don't think Americans like that idea, but that's the reality. Everyone was afraid of the civil war after the election. Why? Whoever wins. Okay, I wanted to, Republican, someone wanted Democrat. Whoever wins should be okay with the decision. But that's a street fight. And unfortunately, that's what the brothers of Yosef got the hashpah. They got the influence from the street that if you don't win, we have to fight it. Right? He calls us wrong, not only within the four walls. Outside the four walls, also going to fight him. You can't. Says also Yosef also was at fault. Why? He says he was a young man. So Rashi says from Gemara that he did what young people do, always combing his hair, looking good. He says the yeshiva boy doesn't do these things. So who is into beauty to look good? A boy, a yeshiva man should do that. So that he also was influenced by people outside. Wanted to be a good-looking boy. If you're very much into your Torah and fight of Torah, you don't give so much attention to your looks. So it doesn't look like Yosef was a very, much a yeshiva boy at the time. Obviously, he learned a lot of Torah, but he was mushpa. Mushpa means he got the influence, was affected by people in the street. That's why the fights didn't contain between the Bet Midrash, was outside too. So he has a couple of good points. I think you like the point that he says that So the Torah says Yosef was 17 years old when he went to be a shepherd, shepherding the sheep. So what do I have to know? How old exactly was he? Who cares how old he was? He went out there and he got, unfortunately was kidnapped. So he says probably Yosef wanted to make some money before he gets married. He was 17. Usually people got married at 18. So you have to make some parnasa before you get married, before you go to chuppah. Right? So he's 17 years old. So I learned Torah. I want to go work. Right? That's fine. 17 years old. He went out to be a shepherd. So now the question is, what did Yaakov send him so young? He knew the brothers hate him. Right? They only set up all the dreams. They only said, we don't want you to be our king. Why you sent your young boy, 17 years old, to the brother that hate him? He knows things are going to happen. So one way he says that he wanted to show that don't think I love Yosef more than others. See, I sent him to work too. He has to work just like you guys work. But the brothers look at it the other way. They said, why our father Yaakov sending Yosef to us? Not because we are the same. He loves Yosef so much that he wants to say, you're that old, still could go work. You're the same as Reuben. You're the same as Yehuda. You're 30, you're 17, right? But you could work together. He's putting this young man the same level as us. They looked at the story, the complete opposite. So one thing you could learn is that in every situation, there are two ways to look at it. You could look at something with a good eye or a bad eye, right? Yaakov was looking at it with a very good eye. He said, you see, for me, no difference. But Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Reuben, the guys who hated Yosef, they said, you see, he's putting Yosef next to us. He's too young, should be home, not with us. Another thing is that he says that he was a young man and he was very good looking, right? He would do things that young people do. Nice clothes, nice hair, makeup. So, interesting question. It says when you go to work to be a shepherd, you go with your beautiful clothes, you make your hair, and then you go to work and be a shepherd. You don't wear your Shabbat clothes to go to do like a very dirty job. How come Yosef went there? They took off his nice ketonet pasim, threw him in the pit. Why did he go there with that? Right? So Yosef wanted to really work with us, but doesn't look like it. He comes with a nice tie and a nice suit. He wants to be our boss, not work with us. He wants to order us, right? So he's the menahel. He's the leader of the business. He's the boss. We are the employee. He looks like an employer. Young man coming here, So he says, don't forget, Zevulun was only 6 months older than Yosef. Right? They never said anything bad about Zevulun. Zevulun, right, was only 6 months older than Yosef. He never worked in the house. He was young, but they didn't care. Why? Because he didn't come with a hair up. He didn't come with a nice suit, right? How do you say this? Nar Einer. What does Einer mean? Einer.
One. Spell it.
Aleph Yud Yud Nun Ein Resh. The unique young man.
1, 2, 3,
Einer. Okay, very unique one. Number one young man. Yosef to them was the only young person because he, so So he says that Yosef should have been more smart about this. And we'll say, you know what, I can't go with this in front of them. They feel like, I'm the boss. Few people working in a parking lot, they're sweating, right? They have their work robe on. You can't go with the students. Can I help you? Hey, you're making fun of us. You can't help us with this. So if you want to be one with them, you have to look like them too. So you have to, yeah, you should have done things to change their perspective and show that I'm like you. But he didn't do that. He looked like very Khakshoor, very important when it came to them. Uh, so he says that he took care of Bnei Bilhan, Bnei Zilpa, children of Bilhan and Zilpa. So why? Because Yosef said their mothers are not real, the main wives. So everyone's making fun of them. I'm going to give them more attention. What did the brothers say? You see, he's trying to make followers. He got only 4 people behind him, right? There were 12 boys, right? Benjamin is Yosef's real brother, so he's gonna follow him. He got 4 other boys uh, from uh, from the 2 midwives, from the 2 not main wives. So he got 6 votes. We have 6 votes. Yosef has 6 votes. So I'm sure Yaakov is gonna go for him, right? So whatever he did, unfortunately, the brothers made the machloket even worse. Uh, you know, they thought that he's just dividing us to conquer us. If he gets 4 votes from them, he got Benjamin with him. He got 6 people. Uh,
Can get too short.
so another point he says is that when Yosef reported their bad deeds to Yaakov, he didn't do it b'chokhmah. He didn't do it in a wise way. A person should know whenever you are reporting someone's bad deeds to somebody else, should be for to'elet, should be a benefit. If there's no benefit, why are you reporting it? Right? So you told your father once, and Yaakov didn't do any reaction. That means he doesn't agree with you. What do you keep telling your brother? I'm going to tell dad what you're doing is wrong. You're only making more machlokes, right? So that was another, shortcoming of Yosef. So all these things was showing that Yosef was saying, I'm a big tzaddik, I'm very important, I dress nicely, I'm a young man, right? You guys are wrongdoers. You're workers, you're going to work for me, I'm going to be your king. I tell dad you're always wrong. So another point in this equation is that ketonet pasim. What was that ketonet pasim? What kind of garment was it that Yaakov made for Yosef? What was it? It says it can't be a nice suit. Because nice suit you buy for anybody. I give you a nice suit. Reuven, you like a nice suit? Go buy it. I buy for you too. Yehuda, you like nice suit? Who? Shimon Levi, who is jealous of this nice suit? Nice suit is just a nice suit, right? Everyone can get a nice suit. So everybody was so bothered. They hated Ketonet passing for Yosef. Listen to this. He said that was a beged shel malchut. It was a kingdom robe. Yaakov was saying, Yosef, you'll be the king. Ketonet passing, right, was the last punch. Oh, already Yaakov is choosing who is going to be the successor. It's not Reuven the Bechor, it's not the Yehuda, that we all thought is going to be the king. It's going to be Yosef. On top of that, because Yaakov loved Rachel the most, and he worked for her pretty much 14 years, right? So they said, we are all secondary. His mother was the main one. He's the main one. We're all gone. He's going to be our king. So So all piling up against Yosef. Yosef has two dreams. מעלמים עלומים. They were making bundles of wheat, sheaves. How do you call it? Sheaves. So he says, let's look at this sheaves of wheat bowing down to Yosef. What is that supposed to mean? So the brothers go work on the field every day, and Yosef comes with a nice, robe, a kingdom robe in front of them, and they say, "I saw your work is bowing down to me. Your field, your bundles bowing down to me." So brothers look at it, say, "Oh, so for money we need you. For Parnasa, we work so hard to be Parnasa home. We need you. You have to, stretch our hand in front of you. That's what you're telling us. You bow down to me to get you food. So we work hard and we need you because you're the king. You come with a nice suit and we have to follow you. We have to bow down to you." So Yosef, from his end, was not stupid to share his dream. Why are you sharing such a dream? You're telling them, you're validating their point. Why did Yosef tell them the dream? Two dreams. He tells them both dreams. He said, absolutely not. Yosef said that if I thought that's how you're going to translate my dream, I would never share it with you. The only reason I'm saying is that Hashem has a mission for me. When you cannot make parnasa, I will be the one provide parnasa for you. Right? So you hate me because I'm gonna, take away from you. But fakir, the other way, I'm gonna provide for you.
He said that to them? No.
That's what he thought.
That's what he thought.
That's my dream. If you wait 3 parshas, he's gonna say, for parnasa Hashem set me in front of you. All his dreams and 22 years in Galut was for me to bring parnasa to you. My dream was right. That's what I had in mind anyways. But the brothers thought, unfortunately, they did not take it as a peace treaty. They look at it as an act of war. Oh, you're the king. We need you for parnasa too. So basically, how Sephardim say Chazaku Baruch, and Ashkenazim say Yishar Koach. So he says that Yosef thought that the fact that the brothers are bowing down to him doesn't mean that we are your servants. We're saying Yishar Koach. Thank you for the food, right? But that's what Yosef thought. I'm telling you, bowing down as Yishar Koach, shaking hand to me. But they thought that bowing down means that we need you. We work, you the king.
Well, that comes again to the point that you could look at the same thing with 2 different perspectives.
Correct.
Or you
Correct.
could have a dream. It depends
That's right.
how you interpret it.
Right. Yeah.
So now, there are 2 ways to look at the melech, at the king. In either of the Shavatim, in either of the brothers, melech means that citizens have to work for the king. What's the king for? You work for the king. That's why I want to be president, because people work for me. In Yosef's eyes was, king has to, it's a service. King is not something to brag about. It's a service. You're a servant to the community. You have to work for the community. Who works for who? Right? Yosef said, if I become a king, doesn't mean I'll just sit back and enjoy my time. I have to work so hard to take care of my community, to take care of my nation. Brothers thought, no, you're the king, that means we have to work for you. So whatever Yosef trying to explain that, I'm with you, they took it the wrong way. So why so many misunderstandings? Why Yosef was never able to make it clear He was never able to clarify himself. Whatever he tried, he failed. Why? Why, Abe? Why Yosef was never able, he had few chances. Clearly, I'm not against you. I want to provide for you. I will be, your servant. No, I want to be our king. Why not? So Ramban says it in one line on the Parsha. He said in 10 pages. One line is very famous Ramban. Ramban says, from here you see, what's this line? It says that כי הגזרה אמת והחריצות שקר. Because the gezerah, the decree of God is the truth. If Hashem wants something to happen, He will make it happen. Hacharisut, any planning, any wisdom is false. You can't do anything if God doesn't want to happen. If you get the story, every single point doesn't make sense. Why Yaakov should send this young man Shechem? Shechem is where they raped his daughter. Why would you send the same place? When the brothers hate him, and he attempted a couple of times to clarify himself for the success, he sent him again to the same brothers for what? To find out what they are doing. They come back at night. You cannot wait a couple of hours to find out what Yaakov, 6 brothers are doing. They're okay. Who can start up with Shimon and Levi? If someone wants to bother them, they kill them. They kill the whole city. They kill them too. So why Malach saw him on the way. Yosef said, ask the Malach. Malach sent you 2 brothers. They're going to kill you? A man found him and said, what are you doing? Matavakesh. What are you looking for? He said, I want my brothers. Go to other way. If the Malach Gabriel, he sent you exactly in the trap of the history. Says the Ramban, Hagezerah emet. True. Hashem wanted this to happen. The question is why? Why does Hashem want this to happen? So, because Hashem had promised Abraham, your descendants will be a ger, right? They have to go through Galut. This has to happen. Yosef should go down to Egypt, be a king. At least they go in Egypt in a nice way. How do you go to exile usually? They do get you a flight to go to exile? How do people go to exile? They're on a chain, right? And walk down, from Lebanon to Syria, from Syria to Turkey. That's how you go to exile. People go to exile. They're running for their life. But here, Yaakov will come to Egypt with a chariot, with a lot of respect. They put the red carpet for him. The whole state dinner. Yaakov came. Yaakov was supposed to go to exile. Not like this. So, because Hashem had a decree against Abraham, because Abraham did not bitachon to accept Hashem's promise, goes back to Ben HaBetarim. We talked about it yesterday, right? Ben HaBetarim was when Hashem promised Abraham, I give you the land. Abraham said, how? How do I know? How do you know? I told you it's going to be. He doubted God just a little bit. Chachamim say, not that he doubted God, he doubted himself and his descendants. He said, how do I know my kids have the zechut to go to have the land? I don't doubt your promise. I doubt our credit. We don't have the credit to get it. Hashem said they could learn, they could do mitzvot, they build a Bet HaMikdash. There are good things they're going to do. Then Avraham back and forth. Maybe stop doing good things. What's going to happen next? But Hashem had a decree against Abraham, so Yosef had to go to Egypt. Whatever this picture doesn't make a lot of sense, but because there is a gezerah, Hashem wanted him to go down to Egypt, and many times Galut makes a person more uplifted, more boteach b'Hashem, more you get more faith and trust in Hashem because of Galut. If they have lived in Israel for all the time, we were not strong people as we are right now. We had to go down to Egypt, go down to Babel, Rome, Iran, Europe. These things make you stronger in your belief. the torture of Galut, unfortunately, sometimes is a better way to connect to Hashem than beauty of Eretz Israel. Famous Gemara, right? It says when Achashverosh gave the ring to Haman, so good what you want, in my stamp. That giving on the ring made Jews fast 3 days, trust Hashem, do teshuvah. Gemara says, whatever, we had 48 Nevi'im and 7 Nevi'ot, right? They couldn't do as good of a job that ring did. Nobody could make Jews fast 3 days. That did. Because that's what Galut is. Galut makes you sometimes, wake up much faster. So many times, unfortunately, we need Galut as a wake-up call. So one of the last thoughts I'm going to share is, again, he says the fact that Yaakov sent them to their. See, sometimes we see our wise people, they are, unfortunately, they're not thinking right. It says in the time of Bet HaMikdash, they wanted to destroy the HaMikdash. The Aspasianus, Caesar, the leader of Romans, came and said, "Why didn't you?" There were a group of rebels in Yerushalayim that they didn't let Jews do what they were supposed to do. They wanted to fight the Romans. Even the Chachamim said, "We're not going to fight. We're going to give in. We're going to open the door, let them come in. We negotiate." So no, we have to fight, and because of that, Yerushalayim actually fell. They didn't listen to Chachamim. So when the Caesar came in, saw that Rabbi Zakkai question, why didn't you, kick them out? Huh? Maybe the second Bet HaMikdash.
Okay.
Right? He said, why didn't you kick them out? What did he answer?
Keep the Romans out.
The rebels, right? He said, I don't know. You're good. I don't know. So because of that, we're going to destroy the Bet HaMikdash. If you had kicked out the rebels to us, right, we wouldn't have done this to your city. Because you cooperated with your rebels, that means you're part of them. Rabbi Akiva said, "What? Rabbi Chum said, answer! Say something!" You can't say, you know what? Wanted to do it peacefully. We don't start a fight. Wanted them, to give in to you. Something. He said nothing. He had a closed mouth. So why? He says there's a pasuk that says, "Mashiv chachamim achor b'da'atam yisachel." Hashem puts the wise people back, and their brain, becomes an idiot. The brain doesn't work. Sachal means like don't think right. Hashem wanted Beit HaMikdash to be destroyed. When he has a gezerah or something, it's hard to avoid it. So there's also one point on the last part of the Parsha, which is not very last, but the fact that Yehuda, right? Yehuda departs from his brothers. He becomes a partner. He gets married. He has 3 boys. He gets a daughter-in-law, Tamar. Tamar is a big tzaddiket, very righteous lady. The first son marries her. Hashem kills the son. Doesn't like the husband. Why? Because he didn't want to have a child. The second one does the same thing. Hashem kills him too. And Yehuda does not want the third son to marry her, right? Because he's afraid that maybe there's something wrong with her. She has a bad mazal. Whoever she marries, husband dies. Tamar, right? And eventually, who marries her? Eventually, who marries Tamar?
Himself.
Yehuda himself, right? He didn't know it's Tamar. Uh, so why did Torah talk about him all of a sudden? And then goes back to the story of Yosef, got sold with Potiphar's wife. So it's some beautiful idea. He says that, when Yosef goes down to Egypt, Galut of Israel is beginning. Galut, that's the beginning of the Galut. Yosef going to down to Egypt, eventually Yaakov will go, everyone will go, going to stay there for 200 years, come out with Moshe Rabbeinu, other Galut will come, exile after exile. As the story gets very sad, Judah going down to Egypt, Hashem says, I'm building the Mashiach. Here, Jews are going down to Egypt to start the Galut. Hashem plan is, Yehuda, your turn to make Mashiach. You have to be with Tamar, right? And Tamar could have had the baby from Shelah, from the third son. Hashem said, not good enough. I want Mashiach to come direct from Yehuda, not from the son. I want Tamar, who's a big tzaddiket, to have a son. So Hashem wants Tamar to have the son, the Mashiach, the upcoming Mashiach from Yehuda. So he says, in people's mind, terrible. Galut is starting, torture after torture. Hashem minds, no, I'm building the Mashiach for you. Right? So Hashem, there's expression, it says, Refuah kodem lemakah. Hashem, before he brings the heat, he made the remedy. You heard this expression before? Refuah kodem lemakah. Before there is a tragedy, before Corona comes, Hashem has the cure for it. Before cancers come, Hashem, maybe you don't know what it is. Before anything bad happens in the world, Hashem, Refuah kodem lemakah. That's Yehuda's story. Yehuda is producing Mashiach in this story, right? Yosef is beginning the Galut for us. Yehuda is putting the antidote, right? Putting the remedy, putting the seeds of Mashiach, right? It shows Hashem's love for us. Don't think, Hashem's so upset about Yosef and his brothers and stuff. Go down to Egypt. No, Hashem, before even the Galut starts, I want to make sure the Mashiach is happening.
The solution is that easy.
Very good. That's always the case. You have to open our eyes. So now he says, so why did Yehuda have such a terrible story? To lose his sons and sleep with his own daughter-in-law. Doesn't look good. You want to make a king? You want to make a Mashiach? Make it from a very pure family. Nothing impure, but it's not the best of the best. So he says, the Gemara says that Hashem does not appoint a king for Jews unless there is something wrong with the family. It says, Kupashil Shiratzim has to be a blemish in the family. Why? He says, because otherwise the king will become too arrogant. I'm a leader, I'm leading the wars, I'm winning. Hashem wants that there should always be a reminder. If Yehuda gets very arrogant, say, you slept with Tamar, with your own daughter-in-law. Sorry, yeah, okay. I have to be humble. David HaMelech gets arrogant, you remember Bathsheba's story? Every time a king becomes, he says a few times we had a king that didn't have any problem, they were very pure, Hashem didn't let them succeed. Shaul. Why did Shaul fall? Because he was too pure, he was too good to be a king, right? Netanyahu has problems in the court, that's good. But that's what the king has to solve. And he says that every leader in a Jewish nation somehow is from Yehuda. Can't be without Yehuda. Because that's what Yaakov said. Lo Yasir Shevet Yehuda. The kings used to have a stick, right? That showed the kingdom. So some rebels still, grand rebels, when they walk in New York, whatever, up to now, they have a special stick that shows I'm the rebel, right? Yaakov said, Yehuda, you always stick to that stick. You always have it. You always be king. So Shaul was not from Yehuda. Was too good. Hashem didn't let Shaul succeed. There's another one too. I forgot the name. So the fact that there was a story of Ruth with Boaz. Ruth wasn't, was a convert. Was not a pure Jewish woman. Was a good convert, but she married a Jewish guy before conversion. There were problems with that, and then he died, and she had to marry. She had to convert and married Boaz. They have David HaMelech. You have Yehuda. All these things is the Gezer of Hashem, because Hashem wants to produce a very, long-standing kingdom. It has to be a blemish of the family. That's what the story happens, right? Otherwise, Yehuda would never want to, sleep with his daughter-in-law, right? And why not giving Tamar to your third son? She's just a decade. Gemara says she never uncovered her face in front of her father-in-law.
He didn't know.
Yehuda didn't recognize her. You don't know it's your daughter-in-law? She never saw her in her life. Modest. She was so modest. Can you believe she marries two of your sons and you don't know who she is? Now that you say somebody under the chuppah, everybody in the world knows who she is. But that's part of the sidkut, righteousness of Tamar. She was a very big tzaddiket. How did Yehuda choose not to give her to Shaul? No, you might be a bad luck. From Kedusha to Kedusha. Why? Because Hashem wanted Yehuda himself to have the king, directly from him and Tamar, and not from Shelah, another son. Okay, so that's what. Do you want to hear one thing about the chalom of the prisoners, Sarah Mashkim too? Sarah Mashkim and Sarah Ofim? Another thought. The Torah says there were two prisoners in Yosef's prison second round, when he got into the palace of Pharaoh. Then he was thrown down in the pit in the prison. Sarah Mashkim, the butler, and Sarah Ofim, the one who was in charge of the bakery. So the dreams, Yosef said to Sarah Mashkim, "You're good. You go back to your job." Sarah Ofim said, "You're gone in few days. 3 days, Hashem. Pharaoh will kill you." What was the difference between Sarah Mashkim and Sarah Ofim? What's the difference? Why did Yosef like Sarah Mashkim's dream better than the other one? That's just almost the same dream. So what do you see good in Sarah Mashkim, so bad in Sarah Ofim in the bakery department? So Rabbi David says that there was a very big difference the way they described their dream. Sarah Mashkim gave a very good detail. He said, I had the tree, it grew up fast, the branches came out fast, they started to give flowers, and it became grapes, and then all of a sudden became the wine. The only thing, there were 3 breads, eating from it, very, very short and sweet. Yosef said, you're not going to live too long. So Rav David says, because Sarah Mashkim, the head of the drinking department, he gave to the source, and he was elaborating on the details until he got the cup of wine for Pharaoh. So Yosef said that that's a great detail. Must be Hashem has a plan for you. You're doing something good for the Jews. Right? It's good for Klal Israel, good for the Jewish nation, you're beneficial. Sarah said, I don't know, it was very short, you're not important.
Also, maybe he had a very good memory. So that's when Yosef needed to come out, he remembered.
He remembered after 2 years. A good memory should remember right away.
That he remembered when Pharaoh.
I know the first day that
needed
when Pharaoh says, you're free. He said, let me tell you who made me free. This is a very genius boy in the prison. So, but the fact that he
after 2 years, he remembered.
After 2 years, thank you. So they say there was another fault of Yosef. He trusted the man, so Hashem wanted him to stay longer. But the point is that somebody has details plan, right? More effective. They say, I'm going to do. It's a dream that's not going to come out. Someone has a detailed plan. He has a detailed plan in his dream. Whatever, from beginning to the end, Yosef said, that's a good idea. You're going to live longer. Right? That's what the Rabbi Feinstein says. Okay? Some thoughts of the Parsha from the Rabbi Feinstein. Have a great day. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.